sports. It's in the game.
Hey fantastic people, welcome back to F1ntastic Gaming. As you can see, we are here with part 2 of the first F1 2021 gameplay video. Unfortunately, this video is coming quite late because I fell sick last week and I was unable to complete this video, which is why it is coming this late. As you can see, we got a great start to the race. We're going to be resuming the race at around lap 4 now in this video. So yeah, we ended the last video on around lap 4. You can see an incident happened at the end of the last video. There's a better view of it, and in that incident, Mazepin crashed after there was a huge concertina effect, and now there is a safety car, and we will be coming into the pits this lap. I'm pretty sure we were supposed to come in on lap number 7, but because of this safety car, we are coming in on lap number 4. As you may know, I recorded this video before the F1 2021 British GP Last of Us Challenge, so this is the first time I entered the pit lane and did a pit stop on F1 2021. We come into the pits, and it's quite a slow stop actually, nearly 3 seconds, and we're onto the medium tires, and we're coming out of the pits in P5 because Hamilton has not pitted yet. He's not going to pit now because he is on the medium tires. Maybe he will pit later on in the safety car period, but I highly doubt it because he started the race on the medium tires, so I don't think he needs to pit during the safety car. That wouldn't really benefit him. But this safety car has done wonders for us because it's caught us back up to this whole top 3 pack. So that's really good for us. Obviously we're gonna be behind the safety car for a while, and we do stay behind the safety car until the end of lap number 6, because now you can see as the safety car goes through turn 13, it turns off its lights, and it is confirmed that the safety car is coming in this lap, which is extremely important. The safety car restart is extremely important. We must not make any mistakes, and we must not get an unnecessary penalty, and we need to go at the right time so that we can get past Perez and hopefully Bottas as well to possibly get up into the podium places. But you can see we use ERS now down this main straight. We do get a little bit of a jump on Perez, but he has a lot more straight line speed. But we make a huge dive bomb down to turn 1. We make a little bit of contact with Verstappen ahead, and we do get past Perez and Bottas in one go. That was a huge dive bomb, and I'm pretty sure I locked up a little, but yeah, that was a massive dive bomb. Let's take a look at it in the replay camera. As you can see, we were coming down this long main straight, and then down into turn 1 we got past Perez, and we made that move on Valtteri Bottas. It was a very close move, very ambitious actually, but we got the move done. We're up in a P3, which is effective P2 after Lewis Hamilton pits. And by the way, when Lewis Hamilton pits, he's definitely going to lose a lot of time because now the pack is all bunched up, but we're losing time both ahead and behind because now we got a horrible exit out turn 10, and Bottas just breezes past us. He didn't even need DRS, but we try to use the slipstream down to turn 11, make a huge dive bomb, use plenty of curb in the inside. We squeeze out Bottas, and that allows Perez to try and get past Bottas. As we go through turn 12 down to turn 13, you can see that I'm pretty sure Bottas managed to stay ahead of Perez, and we didn't get the best run through there. We definitely didn't get the best exit, but Bottas got a much better run. He's using the slipstream down this back straight into the final corner. You can see that we managed to maintain the position, but Bottas goes for a dive bomb, and that loses him time. That loses him about a second. He's about a second behind us now, which is really good for us. As we take a look at the replay of our overtake, and you can see that Perez managed to pull alongside Bottas, but then through turn 12 he just wasn't able to make that move. He just wasn't able to make that move stick. And yeah, down into this penultimate corner, you can see that Bottas tried to go for that dive bomb down the inside, but I didn't even know he was there. I actually didn't know he was there, but I already had that apex, and then he turned left because, as you may know, the AI on the F1 game, they can't afford a corner cut. They just never do a slight corner cut, so that's why that loses them a lot of time. He turned the steering wheel left, Bottas, and that lost him a load of time. That's why we have a bit more breathing space, but you can see we're just not doing that well. We're still struggling with the car. We're still struggling with the grip. Meanwhile, it's all kicking off behind us as Tsunoda and Perez are having a battle down into turn turn 1. Yuki Tsunoda taking the fight to the Red Bull. Remember, Tsunoda is a rookie and he's in an AlphaTauri, so he's doing incredibly well, and he's taking the fight to Perez, which is for effectively P4, because Lewis Hamilton does have to make a pit stop since he hasn't pitted yet in this race. I mentioned in my previous video that in this S section I struggled, but I didn't this time, and you can see that Yuki Tsunoda is overtaken by the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. That's not good for Tsunoda, but I think it's because he was battling with Perez. Then when Perez managed to defend from Tsunoda, I think Tsunoda might have lost some momentum, and Ocon might have pounced on those two, and he might have taken advantage of that situation to get past Tsunoda. But you can see down to turn 10, Bottas is right on our rear end as we come down this back straight. You can see that he doesn't have DRS. Actually, I don't think DRS is enabled yet, but he goes for the overtake around the outside of turn 10. You can see that he doesn't manage to get past us. We aggressively squeeze him out. Unfortunately, that's the only camera angle I have, but yeah, we aggressively squeeze him out. He's still on our rear end though, because we're not doing that well. We're not doing as well as I was hoping I would do. But yeah, you could see that he's trying to go for it again down the main straight. We go very, very defensive. We try to break the slipstream, but he doesn't need the slipstream. He just has that superior engine power. And down to turn 1, he goes for the move around the outside. We defend the inside line again, aggressively squeeze him out, and we allow Sergio Perez to go for the move around the outside of turn 2 and get past Bottas. So now the order is Verstappen, me, Perez, and then Bottas, and Bottas is attacked by Esteban Ocon. Ocon is pouncing on the opponents ahead. He's doing so well. He nearly passed Lewis Hamilton for the last podium position, but unfortunately he was unable to do that. You can see we get a horrible exit out of the S section down to the hairpin of turn 8. Sergio Perez gets damage on his front wing. I actually saw this afterwards when I was getting these replay camera shots. I didn't know he got damage like this when I was actually playing this race, and you can see that he's holding up an entire train of cars now, which is good for us. We get to extend the gap. We're chilling, but behind, Sergio Perez is struggling. You can see Bottas tries to get past Perez around the outside of the final corner. Bottas doesn't want to wait. He doesn't want to get held up, and he makes a move, and Perez, as you're about to see, is going to pull into the pits now. He needs a replacement on his front wing. He has way too much damage, and yeah, that's unfortunately race ruin for him. I really couldn't do anything. I had to brake. I had to slow down for the corner, and yeah, I guess he didn't expect that I would brake so much or that I would be so slow, so he just plowed into the back of our car, and yeah, that's not good for him. There's a huge gap ahead, so I'm pretty sure all we need to do now is try and maintain the gap behind and try and just keep P2 pretty much, because I think this has been a really successful race for us, especially after the safety car restart. But Bottas and Ocon are battling now. Ocon really wants that podium, so he's fighting with Bottas for that podium. The Alpine versus the Mercedes. There's a huge battle behind. The gap behind is extending due to this battle, which is very, very good for us. We can just be careful. We just need to focus on the driving, but Bottas does manage to stay ahead, and as you're gonna see now, he does manage to bring the gap down to 0.5 of a second. That is so crazy how he got that gap down so fast, and you can see he's right in a slipstream, and we need to be really careful now because he could very much get past us, and he does get past us with DRS. We're trying to use the slipstream now in turn 1. We make a huge dive bump down into turn 1, touching the inside curb and going a little bit wide to squeeze out Bottas, also because we need to make the corner because we braked super late and we managed to make that move. It was very, very risky, but we managed to get that move done, and yeah, we just dived for the apex, made it work, and retook P2, which I think is really important, and I'm really proud of that move. I think that went really well. But you can see out of turn 4 that I got a horrible exit, and through the S section I get a horrible run, and you can see that on the exit of the S section down into turn 8 I have to squeeze out Bottas. I have to be very, very aggressive to defend my position because we had a horrible run through there. I'm pretty sure I got a big wall of understeer. You can see that Bottas nearly runs off the track, and we squeeze him out again. We're being very, very aggressive in our defense, but I feel like it's required, otherwise we won't keep the position. And let's take a look at the replay of that. You can see he actually calculated that move really well, but then at the exit we just got a better run. We squeeze him out a little bit, and then we actually kind of backed him up into Ocon and Tsunoda. So Ocon and Tsunoda, both of them them. You can see Tsunoda swerving on the track. Ocon goes for a move down the inside into turn 11. You can see that Bottas isn't giving up. He's trying to stay ahead. He's trying to stay ahead of Ocon, and he does manage to stay ahead of Ocon because Ocon just can't make that move stick around the outside of turn 12. And yeah, that was very, very close, but he manages to stay ahead, and Bottas has caught back up to us. Bottas not giving up at all. He's being very, very resilient, and he is persevering because he wants to get past us. But I'm gonna keep this podium position. I'm gonna keep P2. I really want to keep P2. I feel like we deserve P2, but for now we need to handle Bottas because with DRS and slipstream he gets past us. We're using overtake mode, but we've almost run out, and again we make an audacious dive bomb down to turn 1. Definitely lock up this time, and Bottas, no, that's Ocon nearly getting past us. That Ocon made a switchback, and Bottas goes down 2 positions as Ocon and Tsunoda get past him, and now Ocon and Tsunoda, both of them trying to get past me now down to turn 4. I'm being very, very conservative through here. I don't want to make any contact, but you can see as we ride the curb through turn 4 at the exit, we just kept our position. We retook the position. This is the dive bomb we made on Bottas. We definitely squeezed him out this time, and that allowed Ocon and Tsunoda to get past Bottas and nearly get past us. You can see that Bottas again not being too afraid to run off the track. That's a really annoying quality of the AI. And Tsunoda again swerving around on the track trying to get past us. He couldn't get past us though. He couldn't get past Ocon either, and Ocon nearly got past us, but then we managed to keep the position. We respectfully squeezed him out, not too aggressively, at the exit of turn 4. And yeah, through this S section again we don't get the best run. We take a very conservative line through turn 8, but Ocon trying to go for a move around the outside. He actually goes for the switchback now, and he's trying to go for another move around the outside of turns 9 and 10, and he runs wide. He runs wide just like a bunch of other drivers have done. I'm pretty sure 1 or 2 drivers have already done that. He runs wide at turn 10, and that is so unfortunate. It's that AI mistake. We saw it earlier, and it's happened with Ocon. I think we might have made a little contact. Actually, I didn't feel any contact when I was playing that, so I don't think we made contact. But Ocon making the mistake of just not having the grip and then running wide and then getting stuck because he cannot come back out in traffic, otherwise he'll have a crash. So yeah, that's so unfortunate for Ocon, and yeah, very, very surprising, but it's happened to Ocon now. And now Tsunoda and Bottas behind are battling, and you can see Tsunoda and Bottas, both of them are gaining time so fast on us. They're catching up to us. Tsunoda and Bottas, both of them try to go for a move around the outside. We hit the apex. We actually run wide, and that's why we could maintain our position. We ran very wide there. Either I was braking too much or I locked up, or both. That's why we ran so wide. But now Tsunoda is trying to get back at us down to turn 4. He tries to go for a move down the inside, but we nail the braking for this corner, and Bottas actually gets past him. So Bottas and Tsunoda have had a battle, and now Bottas has passed the AlphaTauri. You can see Bottas is right on my rear end now. He goes for that same move that Ocon went for, and you can see that again he makes that same mistake, except this time we can clearly see that Bottas was locking up a lot. So Bottas locks up and runs really wide, and that's his race ruined now. And I think it was definitely much closer, and Bottas was definitely going much faster. So yeah, I think we might have made a bit of contact with Bottas. But before we move on, I want to show you some of the details in photo mode. So I went into photo mode, and you can see the detail of the damage on the car. We have a little bit damage to the front wing, but I don't think we lose any downforce. But we have so much floor damage and damage to the engine cover and the side pod. But surprisingly, when I checked the damage when I was playing the game at this point, and it didn't show any damage, and also I couldn't feel the effects of the damage. So maybe that's just the graphics showing the damage, but it didn't actually affect my race. You can see that the colors might look different due to HDR, but like in the normal colors you would be able to see that there's definitely no damage on the car. And now we're moving to later on. We have created a bit of a gap to Tsunoda, around 7/10. It's not much of a secure gap, but now I just realized that we're on the penultimate lap of the race, going on to the final lap. And on the final lap I'm gonna continue that tradition which I talked about earlier, where I go into cockpit mode, and you can see that behind us while I go into cockpit mode, Tsunoda and Sainz are battling now. My teammate Carlos Sainz, he's come out of nowhere because all these cars been making mistakes and going off. He's come out of nowhere to try and attack Yuki Tsunoda and try and put both Ferraris on the podium. But you can see Tsunoda is right on our rear end. I completely did not notice that because I was in cockpit view when I looked back back, when I pressed the look back button, I suddenly saw that Tsunoda is right there. That was a very, very close encounter. But you can see this is a replay from the end of lap number 13 when Sainz and Tsunoda were battling with each other. You can see it got very, very close. I'm pretty sure they made some contact, and they were still going side by side down this long main straight. You can see that Sainz pulling alongside Tsunoda, but Tsunoda has my slipstream, so he manages to stay ahead and defend into the braking zone for turn 1. So yeah, there we are ahead, struggling like crazy. And yeah, I think it was just a tire wear, that's why I was struggling so much. But Tsunoda is really feisty. He's trying to get past me down into turn 4. We defend heavily, we don't let him pass, and we actually squeeze him to the apex of the corner, which allows Carlos Sainz to pass him. And now both Ferraris are up into a podium. And even more crazier than that, George Russell is in P5 as we drift through the S section down into turn 8, and Sainz goes for the dive bomb. We're side by side with my teammate on the last lap. Sainz is trying to steal P2 from me. I'm not going to let this happen. Down into turn 9, I'm really scared about this. We make contact with Sainz, and Sainz runs wide. Sainz runs wide. It actually happened. I can't believe it. It actually happened. The Ferrari teammates collide on the final lap when we were both in podium positions. Oh my goodness. I think both me and Sainz were at fault for that. I mean, I was at fault because I didn't really nail my braking. I was in cockpit mode. I'm not super used to that. Whereas Sainz, he was actually kind of like turning in on me. He didn't, anticipate that I would be there, and he didn't leave me enough space at all. He was completely turning in on me. And yeah, because we made contact, he's kind of run wide now, and that's his race gone. But now we are under attack from 2 cars, maybe even 3 cars. It's Russell and Tsunoda, both of them going for P2. They're trying to get past me. This is so close. And I think George Russell has just gotten up into the podium positions. You can see there was definitely some contact made. It was quite argy-bargy. We were going 3 wide. That corner is not a 3 wide corner, people. Tsunoda was going for a higher place on the podium, while Russell was just going for the podium position, and now he's up into the podium positions, people. George Russell on the podium. I gotta tell you, this is absolutely amazing. I mean, obviously it's very rare that this would happen in real life, but imagine if it did. That would just be insane. As Max Verstappen wins the Bahrain Grand Prix, he was unable to do that in real life. After a really dramatic race, he wasn't able to get past Hamilton for the win, but this time he clearly won by 24 seconds. That is a big margin. But we are gonna take the checkered flag to take P2 in this crazy 2-part race. It was such a crazy race. I had to make 2 videos from it. That's how crazy it was. And driver of the day, I think we deserve that. I mean, from P20 to P2, if we didn't get driver of the day, this game would be broken. But yeah, let's watch the podium ceremony with George Russell on the podium. George Russell, take a bow.
Even during some of the more hectic parts of the race meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
I mean, this video has been so incredible. These 2 videos, the part 1 and part 2 of this video, have been so incredible. I mean, this was my first experience on F1 2021, and instantly I loved it. I mean, it was difficult, it was very difficult, but I still loved it. And yeah, George Russell being on the podium isn't even the best part. And I can't believe that Yuki Tsunoda and Kimi Raikkonen complete the top 5. I mean, that just shows you how crazy F1 can be. And then there are our victims, almost. Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, Valtteri Bottas, Esteban Ocon. These are pretty much the guys who messed up during the race. And Daniel Ricciardo, he's surprisingly done well. He's up in a P12 despite his early mistake. That was in part 1 where he made that mistake and he went wide, and yeah, that was absolutely insane. I mean, some of the AI mistakes, I think it's a new thing. It's good to see that this new thing is actually there, but I think one thing I found is that if you repeat that situation with the AI, it's almost always gonna happen. I went side by side with different AI on different laps at that area, and they made pretty much that same mistake of going wide like that. So yeah, maybe it's realistic. I don't know, maybe it would happen in real life if something like this happened, if a driver did that and went side by side in that area multiple times. But yeah, you guys are probably still celebrating that Russell podium, because obviously it's incredible to see George Russell on a podium, even if it's just in a game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to smash that like button and hit that subscribe button to subscribe to my channel if you're new or if you haven't subscribed already. This is F1ntastic Gaming.